Okay, tell me when I'm ready, Jack. Welcome back to the Unilight, no, not Unilight, Trade Legends podcast.
It's on brand.
It's been away too long.
Sponsored by Unilight. So, we've got a good show tonight. We've got SMH gas specialist, Mark, and GasLadd, aka GasLadd. But used to be
the apprentice plumber.
Apprentice plumber.
Yep.
So what we normally do, give us how you got into the industry, anything you think people can relate to or will find interesting about your story.
Nothing.
Maybe not.
It's going to be a short show, guys.
If you're struggling, make something up. What we'll do is if we start with you and then we'll come on to you and then where you guys got together.
We came together.
And yeah, we'll get your stories and then we'll pick you apart and we'll grill you and ask you.
Humour, innit? You did what? Come on to me.
Twice.
So tell us how you got to where you are today. But if you leave the bit where you two teamed up to the end, then we'll get you both in together.
Okay. I started as a change of trade off the back of an accident. Crushed my hand. I was doing a bit of carpentry work, fitting granite kitchens. Crushed my hand. Told I'd never manually work again. Managed to get kind of like a labouring job with 2 plumbers. Found out I think I actually got given the opportunity to kind of do a bit of soldering, and do you know what, I thought that was plumbing. Yeah, I like this. So they worked for a company, I'm not going to mention the names, and yeah, I was eventually after a few months offered an apprenticeship, and yeah, went down that little hole.
What age were you at this?
36, just turned. So okay. Yeah.
It's old, isn't it?
Long time ago.
What is it? Long.
Not to them.
But yeah, that was it. Yeah, so quite many moons ago.
How did you crush your hand?
Lifting an island from the factory, got pulled out of the rack by the other person that was clearly not looking, and yeah, just pinned my hand to the floor. Thing exploded, crushed all my last 2 fingers, my hand there, nerve damage. I'm literally told I would never manually work again. So taught myself to use my left hand, and yeah, here we are.
I knew I'd get an eyebrow raise. Taught to use his left hand.
Honestly.
Well done, my friend.
Whole new term to the meaning.
Like someone else is doing it.
literally, the look was like, well done, my friend.
Then they call that a prison wank. Oh god!
I don't have to sit on it. That's fine. But yeah, that was it. Did my apprenticeship as the apprentice plumber. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I did.
When you say you did apprenticeship, did you go to college, day release, the whole thing?
Yeah. So I'm proper apprenticeship. So yeah, day release. Was on new build sites, as everyone kind of knew that followed me at the time. Yeah, quite an experience, and then...
Well, talk us through that for a 36-year-old man who was earning a full-time wage.
Yeah.
Then going to an apprentice's wage, was it difficult?
Even struggling, like, was it a struggle to actually get that hand going and actually doing the job?
Is this a clean question?
No, it's like, because literally, if you crushed your hand and then you've been told you're never going to do... The
reality of the situation is I've always been manual. I've never worked in an office. I've never done a 9 to 5, suit and tie. And to be told that, your dominant hand is crushed and, you're never going to get, movement in it again. And yeah, it was, I mean, the reality is the mental aspect was quite severe. I remember going back that day, I'm a bit stubborn, so I kind of went out to the garden, I was mowing the lawn with my left hand, and I was physically and mentally trying to reject what I'd been told. So yeah, it was hard.
That day?
Yeah, that day.
Manly, isn't it?
Yeah, man, tough. No 9 to 5 here. But yeah, so like I say, I got offered the apprenticeship. There was a lot to think about, at the time. I was paying a mortgage, and I had 2 cars, 2 dogs, and just life. And yeah, it was hard. Didn't know where to turn. I knew that kind of, I don't know, the labouring for these plumbers was good, and I could kind of get into this for the future, maybe. I just didn't know. And I literally just went in blind. I was given the opportunity. I was still teaching myself to use my left hand, and like I say, like soldering with my left hand was weird. And
were you labouring and then you decided to do an apprenticeship?
Yeah, well, labouring for 2 plumbers, and then
I don't know. We probably should have this conversation before. But.
Is that the first thing you did after the accident? You didn't try for any other jobs?
No.
Went straight back into what you knew.
Went straight for The girl I was with at the time, it was her dad and her brother that were the plumbers.
Redditch.
No. But yeah, so like I said, they basically said to me, you know, we'll take you under our wing, you could just be a labourer. Basically, I think they just wanted like a lackey, you know. I was a manual kind of guy, and it was site work, they're on price work, and yeah, they were, you know, just clearly greedy. That's another story. But yeah, so I kind of came to terms with the fact that I liked the plumbing game. I liked what I saw, the first fixing, the second fixing, you know, the finals. Didn't understand what the commissioning side was back then, and you know, they were just stood there in front of this boiler and filling out a book.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we do now, isn't it?
Hang on. PB, can you believe this? You go onto a news site and they didn't commission it, they just filled it in, just made it up. Can you believe that?
They were stood in front of it commissioning.
Looking at a guy out of the van.
Yeah, that was literally my life. And yeah, like I say, I did the apprenticeship. I had people younger than me telling me what to do, and you know, that was another aspect which was hard to kind of come to terms with. You know, I don't have any, you know, I don't mind working under someone that's younger than me. You know, knowledge is power after all, you know. So I'm very, very kind of humble with how I was. You know, I was mentally kind of low at that time for years. Like it was years, and yeah, it was just, yeah, that was it really.
And just talk us through the college experience. So were you the only one sort of older in the class? How did you find that?
Do you know what I found? It was actually quite good because I was one of, say, 2 or 3 that stayed at break, you know, to do study notes and yeah, you know, pretty much.
Square.
And yeah, it's kind of, you know, there'd be 17-year-olds rocking in after break, stinking of weed, and you know, I'd be like, what the fuck, you know. It was nice. It just made me focus more, I think.
Yeah, I think if you'd have probably gone and done that when you were younger,
different story.
You probably would have been that person rolling in.
Yeah, because you know, at that point I knew that, you know, I've got to make a career now. You know, clearly I went to zero.
Yeah.
You know, zero. There was no direction for me. Hence why I kind of, when I started the apprentice plumber route on socials, it was like I had nowhere to turn to. I didn't have no one to kind of look up to. I didn't know about, say, like you guys on there, or you know. I just
must have known of PB.
But you know, like, I didn't know where to turn.
I'll be honest with you. I went to the gym once, and there was a plumber in there, and I thought, I said, "What do you do?" He says, "A plumber." I thought, right. Do you know PB plumber? And he went,
"Who?"
No. I went, "Everyone knows PB plumber, mate." I was like, "Stop that conversation." I was like, "You don't know Pete, mate. Fuck off."
Yeah,
it's literally like that.
He must not be a very good plumber then.
Have I told the story about when I went to Worcester and the guy saw me in a pub and came up to me 3 times to talk to me? Have I told that story yet?
3 times.
Right, listen to this. You will absolutely love this story. So I went to Worcester to do the Worcester Half Marathon, and I'm in this pub on the Saturday night before the run because I'm staying over in an Airbnb. Yeah. And I'm at the bar with Josh, who's running with me, and this guy comes over and he's like, "Oh my God, are you PB plumber?" I'm like, yeah.
Time, though, to be fair.
Yeah. Just turns around. I watch all your YouTube videos. Oh, brilliant. And I shook his hand. I was like, all right, nice to meet you. And he went. Then he came back again. So he was saying, I've just told all my mates you're here. They all watch your YouTube videos. We watch them at college sometimes. And I'm like,
imagine
cool,
if you had a fan club outside the pub.
Literally.
This is where it gets good.
Watch it at college?
So, yeah, they play my videos at college apparently. But anyway, this is the best bit. So he goes away. 3rd time he comes back. To say, "Oh, PB, I can't believe you're here." So I said, "Do you want a photo?" And he went, "No, you're all right." Absolutely burned me.
Fucking stupid.
I'll be honest with you though.
Leave me alone, PB.
You go to an exhibition with him. I'm not kidding. The amount of people are, "You right, Pete?"
Because,
shake your hand, Pete.
But I thought,
"Can you have a picture with my dog, Pete?"
Because in my defence, because he was a young lad and he came over 3 times, I thought, what, is he coming over 3 times? Does he want a photo? He's just too shy to ask.
Was he just nervous?
That's what I thought. Yeah. So I said to him, "Look, do you want a photo?" And he just went, "Nah, you're all right."
Definitely get a photo.
It was so funny.
He's broken the ice 3 times.
Yeah,
I mean, it's fine, isn't it?
I was half expecting that, like an army of his mates would come down from college and be like, "Pete, Pete."
But to the race, yeah.
PB is like the godfather of plumbing, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Don Corleone.
Well,
it's nice though when you go somewhere people do.
He's amazing.
Imagine if that guy had said to him, "I'll see you in the toilet." Just winked at
The first time I met you, PB, I was taken aback by your...
You with your dad, weren't you?
Yeah, by your
I remember
every man, isn't he?
I remember every fan interaction.
It's like Harry Styles with the plumbing world.
Oh God! Super fan. Is that what's happening here?
No.
No, it's just everyone.
I've watched those things.
Everyone remembers their first time.
Yeah.
Pete.
Hi, Pete.
Oh God!
Can I have a pic? No, I don't.
I gave you a tool.
Ooh, hang on.
See if he remembers. You don't remember them all.
What show was that? Vex or Installer?
I found an old tool under some floorboards, and at the time you were like into your old tools, you know, like
yeah.
And it was like,
I feel like there should be a love heart. Right?
Hang on. Let me think.
You can put a love heart on this section, Jack, when it zooms in. This can be one of the reels.
Oh, what was it?
Do you remember, Pete, when I got you that time?
he doesn't remember.
Look at that.
It wasn't a raw plug thingy. Because someone else gave me that.
Just don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it.
Moving on.
Just edit this out.
No, I
want to see if I can remember.
Fucking hell, we're going to get out of here tonight.
It's so embarrassing getting a present for someone and they don't even remember.
I can see your face. And I can see your dad as well.
Steve, shout out. Shout out to Stevie.
What was it?
It was like it's like a pipe cleaner.
Oh yeah, with the wooden handle.
Yeah,
I remember. I've still got it.
I was like, Dad, what is this?
Son, one day you'll find someone to truly give it to.
Until that time, I must pass it to Peter.
This is like one big boys' club, isn't it?
Oh God. We should have a warning on this. Too much lad chat.
No more beer for that end of the table.
Anyway, Carl,
I'm only halfway through.
So you were at college.
Yep.
Only old boy in the class.
Yep. Everyone's stinking of weed.
And then, and at that point, you got your Instagram, which you were documenting your.
Yeah, pretty much. I was approached by that Hip magazine, do the apprentice diaries, just literally document everything I did.
Yeah. Did you get a good reaction from the community with the people that were asking you, oh, I'm similar age, I want to get into plumbing, I want to change career?
Yeah, still do now. I mean, I do feel the whole like apprentice plumber route, like on socials, it did me justice for kind of where I am now so I still get questions off people similar age, you know, usually like 30s and above.
Is the main question, is it too late to change careers?
Honestly.
The amount of people that I see saying that on there.
But genuinely, you know, how did I get into it? You know, how did I cope? Once I tell them, you know, how did I cope with the mortgage and stuff like that, you know? And it was hard. I'm not going to lie. I didn't buy, say, a pair of trainers for 2 years. You know, I didn't buy a new tracksuit or anything for like 2 years. It was all food shopping, fuel, you know, food for the dog. Yeah. Just literally going to work with like my, you know, her dad and getting dropped off, and I didn't leave the house. You know, it was depressing at the same time. It was exciting. You know, that's the truth of it.
Because you're thinking of the bigger picture.
Yeah, bigger
I'm gonna
picture.
Get qualified, and then I'm going to make loads of money.
And let's be honest, you know, any goal that you get, you know, so if you want to save, say, 10,000, you know, it's not a fun route, is it? Because you have to kind of sacrifice a lot of things. You know, you don't want to put that $2,000 away each time. You know, you don't want to do that. So I knew where I wanted to be. I didn't know if I was going to get there, because you don't know if you're going to qualify. I don't know if I'm going to do my portfolio. I don't know. You know, I didn't know any of that, but it was hard. And obviously on new builds, expected to work 1,000 miles an hour, expect to pick it up, this, you know. It was mad. It was hard. Yeah, I thought college was hard. It was really, really
well, when you're trying to learn something new and then you can't actually then go out on a weekend either to go and do stuff because you're thinking about that all the time.
Very limiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all right. It kind of, it makes you a bit more resilient, you know, so.
And then you qualified?
Yeah, qualified. I was still on new builds. I think I worked another 6 to 8 months after that. I mean, and throughout this whole time, you know, I was speaking to people. I speak to like Briggsy and stuff like, you know. I think Briggsy was like one of the main ones where, you know, he actually said to me, "You need to get off sites. You need to think about real plumbing. You know, like real plumbing, like the domestic sector. You know." Up until that point, then I was chasing my ass every day. I was just trying to get qualified. I was trying to like earn money. You know, as an apprentice, I was on 235 quid a week. You know, that's just ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, at that age as well, you know, 36, 37, 38.
Yeah.
You know, it's not doable. It's not doable. And And yeah, so, you know, it was interesting. I didn't understand the domestic side of it. And yeah,
it's weird because, Carl, you're fitting out a whole house, is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much on new builds, yeah.
That's just...
Well, you go and you literally got...
I've never done that. But then you find that is a domestic building, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you've done everything.
From an apprentice point of view, let's talk about the learning aspect of this, okay? So you go through an apprenticeship from start to finish. You're ideally meant to learn, you know, flow returns, hot, cold, what's drinkable, what's not, you know, where waste goes, so everything. You are, aren't you?
Don't drink the waste.
Don't drink hot water.
Water.
It's dirty.
That's day one, isn't it?
But literally like that. But it's not until, say, maybe my second or third year where you realise that new build sites, you know, you're first fixing a house, you know, you're drilling joists, you're putting het pipe through, you know, copper drops, this, that, you're doing a little bit of soldering. Then it's all closed up. Then you're doing second fixing. You put a bath in. You learn your spacings. You learn that you fucked up on the first fix, and you know, you're not actually learning anything plumbing. You're just putting things together.
Yeah.
You know, you are just putting things together. You're not understanding if you go around to, say, a house and say, I don't know, you know, something's wrong, how to fix it. You know, and that I didn't really learn.
Because it's the same.
Yeah.
So you don't think about it, you're just connecting.
It's like
things.
Meccano, you know. It's you know, I'd go into a first fix. So I was, you know, I'd be given a plot myself, and you know, I'd earned that. You know, I'd work, and I'd earn that. You know, and I remember trying to figure out, you know, where the bypass. You know, the first T had to be there. You know, that's where the bypass was.
Yeah.
And I remember like one of them I really messed up, and I walked in straight away. I was like, you know, I've put this puzzle together wrong, and that's all it was, a puzzle.
Yeah.
It wasn't plumbing, and I feel that's bad, you know. So
it is bad, but you can only learn from where you are working.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
And I think that's why my Instagram was quite popular, because guys that say fit boilers don't necessarily know how to fix boilers. So they can look online and follow someone like me and get tips for that, or they can follow someone like Briggsy and learn from him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's true, if you're first fixing pipes, and then you go into someone's house, oh, my heating's not working, it's the pump, but the pump's under the floorboards in the middle of the house. Yeah. You're never going to know that unless you've experienced it.
Exactly.
Because why would there be a pump under the floorboards? That's crazy. But exactly that's where they used to be. So yeah, I understand it. So do you think that held you back with qualifying, getting your apprenticeship, because you were only doing site work?
No, not really, because qualifying in, say, the plumbing side of it, you know, that's just from zero to, say, this date. You know, you will, all you have to do, as long as you do your portfolio and you pass your exams, you know, you will pass, you will qualify, you know, in the plumbing. So, you know, it wasn't until kind of like the gas side that you know, when I started, that shit gets real. You know, it's like calcs and all sorts of stuff, and you know, you know, then you kind of start seeing it from a different aspect. You know, moved away from the new build site, and yeah.
Where did you do your gas as part of your apprenticeship?
I did it as part of my apprenticeship, yeah. But so, I mean, I don't know how much I can really say on here, but if there's any ever advice,
did you kill someone? What happened?
Is Andrew tight?
No. But in the sense, I just don't like shit talking people. You know, it's like, but you know, I made a calculated decision to come off new builds, but it was a wrong decision to make. So I went with someone. So I feel like, you know, my caliber was kind of, you know, I built myself up knowledge-wise up to about here. You know, I knew quite a lot for, you know, the apprentice level I was at.
Yeah.
You know, I was confident in what I was doing. You know, and then obviously I was being told to venture a bit further into like the real plumbing side, which you guys do, and you know, that was scary. So I was like, well, do you know what? I remember having a conversation with my partner, you know, with Beth, and it's like, do I do this? Do I make the jump? And it's really, really nerve-wracking. Then I start realizing, oh, well, you know, what am I going to do if I go around and this, I don't know this, and, you know, but it is what it is. You know, you have to learn it. So I made the jump, went and applied to this guy who works in Birmingham, sole trader. Had all the vans, had two vans, you know, he had an office established, apparently. I thought within the first week of leaving new builds and working with this guy, it was like, you know, it was clear. I was working on new builds with some like A-grade kind of plumbers, you know, they were fast, they were effective, they were earning money, had nice vans, you know, in my eyes, you know, they were knowledgeable. They weren't just new build plumbers as well, you know, they come from the domestic side. So I'd been around caliber.
Yeah. And
within a week of being around this guy, it was like, fuck, I fucked it. You know, we had one job in the first week. One job.
Oh, shit.
Do you see what I mean? You know, he agreed to still foot my apprenticeship because he had to sign over responsibility of me.
Was he still paying you?
Hey,
Was he just paying you for the week?
No, still paying. So this one,
What's your problem?
It was. No,
Yeah, but you're not.
You got one job this week.
You're not
I'm not learning. You know,
No.
As an example, like we had one job. No, he was still paying. We agreed at interview. I'm still going to college. I do day releases, apprenticeship. It's important.
Yeah,
no problem at all. Company van, fuel card. It was great. The dream. Within the first week, he was moaning about the fuel that I used to drive to college. It was like we had one job, and I was asking him questions that he didn't know, but I did. I was to confirm. Is this right? I don't know. What did your book say? Do you see what I mean? And a few weeks later, I was like, well, I need to get out of here. And then obviously I started calling around, and so anyway, so I ended up so at this point I'm self-funding myself at college. So I had to. So like I say, here I am now. Yeah. Well, there's a bit more into that.
Would you say that's the hardest bit then?
What's that?
When you're older, is the self-funding and the lower wage?
I only learned that the self-funding part after the mistake I made because, like I say, he signed my college stuff. So in theory, the government gives him a grant, and he covers a little bit of the college. But after I left him, I was on my own. So in theory, you have to kind of look at ways of self-funding. Luckily, I was at a point in my gas where I'd kind of, we'd done multiple exams. I just had the portfolio side to kind of complete. I'd had all my photos done. I just needed to say a few more.
Yeah.
So it was just a case of sourcing someone, as I thought at the time, to do, say, day release or days here and there. Didn't know what I was going to fucking do for work. So I just called around every plumbing company, and it's like, what do you do?
You said we were the first.
No, but I mean, like that's what you got to do, isn't it? You've got to call everyone.
You do what you do to get in.
Yeah. I mean, you have to literally just think, I've got to call fucking everyone.
Yeah.
Still have bills to pay, and I mean, do you want to know where kind of I am now? And that's.
Is this the point where?
Yeah, this is the point. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there then. So, Mark, give us
So, ladies and gents, tradesmen and women, I am trying to help you organise yourself. So we have teamed up with Defied, which is a software brand that if you are struggling to get organised, to look after your customers and to get everything ready for the jobs that you are going to need, then Defied is an all-in-one solution. So we've teamed up with those guys. If you click this little link just up here, you get 50% off your first 3-month subscription, and you also can have a 14-day free trial.
Give us your route into the trade. Obviously, if your dad's a plumber, I'm going to assume it's similar to mine. But give us that anyway, and then lead it. But before we get to where you and Carl got together, give us your why you got into social media as well, because I've known you on social media for a long time. What you use it for and stuff like that.
Yeah. So my dad was plumbing heat engineer, and a bit like you. Just sort of work with him. I don't know if this is true for you, actually. I'm talking for you there, but went to work with him in school holidays, 14, 15, just help out your dad. And then at 16, so I was brought up in Oxfordshire. That's where he's always lived. And then he bought a flat in Winchester, Hampshire, where my sister was at uni. And he said, you can stay here, go to sixth form, or you can move down into a flat in the centre of Winchester and move down there. So I was like, I'll go for that. So
Winchester,
Winchester, the centre of the universe. It was So I moved down to Winchester, had my own flat, went to sixth form college, and it was like just did my A levels basically, living on my own, and it was sort of like.
Is it as cool as this?
How could it be as cool as this? But I mean, a 16-year-old living on his own in his own flat, it was just awesome. But I just did my A levels. It was like a mini uni, and then finished A levels and got good grades. I was sort of quite academic at school. I was never really into
What did
woodwork.
you do?
Put it?
What subjects?
At A levels, I did sports science.
Sports science.
Quite academic. Sports science.
Are you for real?
That's why I asked him. I thought he was going to go RE. I'm waiting for RE now. Sports science. RE.
How have you know? Quite over there. Sports science.
That's a serious subject, guys.
What was your second one? Drama.
Media. No, it wasn't. I did biology. I should have started with biology.
Yeah,
I should have started with biology, business, geography, and sports. Anyway, I got good grades, especially in sports. And but all my mates went to uni. I'd have had it like that. Yeah, so all my mates went to uni, and I thought, I don't want to go to uni. I didn't like getting in debt. I didn't have a direction. I thought I just didn't want to go. So I had a year off, and then I thought, what's the coolest thing you can do without any qualifications?
Sports science.
PE teacher. I know you need qualifications. So I wanted to be a firefighter. So I went down
This is so similar. So similar.
Yeah. So I went down to my local station, Winchester, and I said, I want to be a fireman. They go, yeah, we get a lot of that. When's the next course? And they said, it's every like 2 or 3 years. You'll get like 10,000 guys apply.
He's never told me he was a firefighter.
You can have a firefighter calendar over it.
And they said, well, we've got retained on call section here as well. So one fire engine was whole time and the other one was retained. And I said, what's that? You know, like, do we just like hand them stuff? And they were like, no, you're in there. You get, you know, BA, you're in the fire. You're
Same
getting
shit, yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same role model, getting paid the same per hour, but you're just on call. And they're out 4 minutes before you. They arrive there usually before you. Anything decent you'll go to. So I went for that, got in.
Decent. People die in your story.
I mean, like a house fire or someone trapped in a car and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like 18, 19. I was like, yeah, that's for me. And then I still did a bit with my dad. So like I'd do that part-time for 4 days, so on call, training. I did my modules. And I just did it. And probably up to 25, I just did it quite relaxed
Would
with
that
my
be
dad.
like with your dad, like big installs, or would you just like do you have set days?
just-
Or
My dad's basically a legend in that I'd probably just be sat with him on a service. Like we must have serviced 80,000 boilers, and I was just cleaning the burner, doing the thermocouple, or I was doing the heat exchanging. He was doing the burner and thermocouple.
I used to have to just fill in the gas safety certificate.
Yeah.
it's kind of like me now.
Nothing changes.
No.
Nothing changes.
Yeah, so I was never. It was more of a. I was loved the firefighting part of it. You know, like had your own flat, you're a firefighter.
It does sound pretty cool, to be fair.
It at that time in life, it was good.
Add the uniform for when a lady comes out. Want to see my big hose? No.
I would never use that to my advantage. But then I started getting into it, and like 25, I think, because when I did my apprenticeship at 25, you know, at college, which is quite old, there was a really old guy in mine. You'd have looked, he was like over 40s. It was serious. He was good. Then got qualified, got my own van, and then the fire service kept doing. I did it for 13 and a half years in the end, and they did these internal things. So you were competing against just people that were part-time in the fire service to become whole-time, and that's like everyone's dream. If you're retained on call, you just want to do it full-time. And I remember going for it, and I got a phone call and they said, you made it through, we can only guarantee 6 months, and then we're not sure, because they were like, so I was like, my dad set me up with a van this time, I'm gas safe, I'm part of the business, we're a team.
That's a future, isn't it?
And I thought, and my dad said, he said, go for it, mate. He said, I'll support you whatever you do. If they say no after 6 months because they don't need anyone, you just come back, keep your van there. He's just totally supportive.
I feel like everyone's got to meet Steve to understand like this is what he's about. He's literally like that.
He's a good egg.
He is, honestly. He's a
egg,
diamond. He is.
But I just felt like I couldn't let him down, and I was getting well into my gas at that point. I think a year earlier I'd have bitten a hand off, but I thought, and also you could have done the firefight a whole time and on call and done a bit of gas on your days off, because I have that flexibility with my dad. But because I lived in Hampshire and worked in Oxfordshire, it was complicated, girlfriends and stuff like that. So anyway,
he had one in each.
I was just about to say, girlfriends.
Complicated. He's got one in each.
Like timings, you know what I mean? Yeah. And,
one girlfriend who thinks he's a plumber, one girlfriend.
yeah. Burner phones. But yeah, so I did it for 13 and a half years, and I was actually, my dad let me be on call while I was doing gas work on my own.
Yeah.
So I had a sign that said, I was in the middle of a strip down boiler service. Occasionally you'd get called out, like in the daytime, it's usually quiet in the day. And I'd usually have to like, I'll isolate electrics, turn the gas off, put the sign there and go and do a shout.
Yeah.
But like that happened quite rarely. It's probably not allowed that, to be fair. But yeah.
But if you've made it safe, you've turned, isolated it, cut the gas off.
Yeah. Yeah, so... But then, and then I guess I'm up to the stage where the business, I became more involved. I like the business side of it. I like a good spreadsheet and like.
Trust me, he likes a good spreadsheet. Can I just go back to that point, the tipping point between where you were offered 6 months from the fire brigade, or you were already gas safe? You said, yeah. So that decision process.
I know it was hard, and I could have been a whole-time firefighter now, still doing plumbing. Plumbing.
Yeah, I was going to say future benefits of that is your whole-time firefighter still plumbing on the side, but you opted for the other kind of side of the.
I saw a few. To be honest, I know it sounds weird, but the fire service is a bit boring. So it's massive.
That's why you wanted to go in it.
And it's really boring.
Anything with regimentation is boring.
That's why you wanted to go in it.
But if you're happy to engage your brain all the time, because plumbing you can't switch off, can you? No. You do a day and it's constant thinking, you're progressing, there's so much to do. But if you're a firefighter, especially if you're whole time, you're sat around a lot of the time. I just
waiting for a call, didn't you?
And the routine of cleaning the fire engine and stuff, it just bored me. I know it sounds weird because then I'd love the shout, I'd love a fire.
What about coming down the pole though?
But then you've been down a pole 3 or 4 times. You've been
night after night, just sat there in your flat, polishing your helmet.
Yeah.
Or at the station polishing the pole.
Yeah, right. Filthy.
2 hands, left hand, right. So
but then I started really getting into it, and then I sort of came across social media. My missus was on Instagram. She was like,
I was waiting for that, thinking, don't you dare say she's on OnlyFans.
What is going on this side of the table?
They get on quite well, aren't
they? Best bros for life.
Oh, fuck. You're going to have to do a lot of bleeping out for me. I just swear not stop.
Where were we?
Jen,
your missus was on social, not OnlyFans.
Yeah, she was. I was like, what's Instagram? Literally, what the hell? What is? And she's like, if you like anything, there's people doing it. I looked up like boilers. You know, that's what I'm into.
PB plumber.
PB comes up, bosh. Like I'm like
already in his search history though.
But it's stuff we do a high standard of work. I think pretty good. We're pretty good, average.
I'd agree.
Top end, over average, but not brilliant, not amazing. But
at least
we're a lot worse now. Carl's joined. But we saw this stuff, like it was amazing. Like at the time, what's this, 5-6 years ago when I joined, and you just unequaled heating. And it was you and unequaled.
That was for me. The only reason I joined Instagram was because Unequaled Heating made a Twitter account, and he just posted a couple of things on Twitter, and I saw it. But he mentioned he was doing his majority of stuff on Instagram, so I was over there looking at it, like, wow.
Yeah.
To be fair, he was one of the first accounts that I kind of followed. Should we say?
Yeah.
His pipe work's fucking sick.
And that's what you think when you look at him, and that's why I made an Instagram.
Yeah.
So,
and it's just these people inspire. It's people who do it at the top of their game, and I'd never heard of Whirrer.
Is he still going on there, Tony?
Yeah, and he's not as prolific as he was, but he's still there, and obviously his back catalogue of work is still there.
He's good. Like he used to put pictures on. It was like a cathedral with the organ, all the pipe work.
It was the angles.
That was it.
It was the angles.
And it sort of excited me again, like about pipe work,
But
boilers.
it is exciting though, isn't it?
But my missus, she's got 130,000 followers.
Wow.
And she laughs at me, like she openly laughs in my face because I've got hardly any followers. But she posts like pictures of our kitchen with some flowers on. 80 million likes. It's because we're very niche.
2 second reel. 2 second reel. 80,000 followers.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, she won't watch this. But
mine will.
But yeah, just got into it, and then social media is how we knew of each other. I saw Carl, I thought
steer clear of him. Looked a bit shifty.
Yeah, You get
That's a
impressions of
hard
people,
pass.
don't you?
Yeah.
And I thought, Carl, I didn't really sort of engage with him.
What was the first impression? Go on.
Handsome. We've all got eyes. I'm not coming. I feel like I'm coming across badly.
Hand off my leg now. Yeah. No, go on.
Just like older apprentice, but you were like the only apprentice at the time that I knew on social media. He was like the apprentice, wasn't he?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, because you were old and handsome. So yeah.
I think there's a few more apprentices out there now.
There are,
a couple of, especially the female ones. But I think it'd be a confidence thing for an apprentice to be confident enough to put his work out on social media.
Which then goes
would
back
have
to like the age thing. But I just happened across it. I just kind of like, you know how you kind of said it was like, well, what's Instagram for this? You know, I had a personal Instagram. You know, that every social you kind of put something up, which is like every month or so. You know,
What meal you had?
yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I'm at Nando's eating chicken.
Well,
That's it. There's usually a remark.
chicken. Ain't nobody got time for that.
But yeah, you know, that is all social media was for until, you know, it's like, well, okay, I can do stuff. Yeah, so my age probably played a big factor, you know. The
Carl's a confident man. He's a 41-year-old confident man.
You got to tell everyone my age. 32.
If I'm being 41, mate.
I think you see 41, mate. But then he's also an apprentice, and he's, you know, so you know,
I suppose, both, it is, confidence,
And then I guess we came together.
When two become one.
It's actually a really weird story. So let's go back to that day when I was stood outside that office in Birmingham.
I thought you were going to say Nando's then.
Why is it always chicken, boys? Jesus, love me some chicken. But no, I was literally stood outside like, what the F am I going to do? You know, and I did, like I say, you know, the instant thought was, I need to phone everyone, you know, and I remember just pulling up. I moved to Banbury and it was like plumbers in Banbury, and I spoke to my partner, you know, and she was on about a company, you know, because remember there was a kind of a bit of a confusion because I actually thought that, you know, you guys had been around and serviced the boiler there, and turns out it wasn't, but I'd ended up, I phoned and got through to Steve, his dad, you know, had a little chat, and it was literally like, I need some work, this is where I'm at, you know, I've been an apprentice plumber, I've qualified, I'm now, you know, kind of halfway through my gas, and I'm at this point, and I need to kind of be closer to where I'm living. Oh, perfect. Yeah, we're looking to kind of slow down a bit. You know, I'm looking to retire, and there might be a space. Okay, really?
Awesome.
Literally, like, really? I remember getting home that night, and it was, you know, I could have cried. It was brilliant.
We weren't looking for
You
anyone.
cried
but
when you turned
my dad's slowing down, so
Yeah.
PB, you actually work on your own, but you work with people. But when there's two of you and you work well together, the job goes so much smoother, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's the number one thing I miss.
Something we don't have now.
Is having that relationship. And also now when I work with like Ben, let's say you're going to do a boiler swap and you've got to do all the TRVs and you've got to flush it. It's a lot for one man to think, right, where shall I start? Shall I start with the boiler? Shall I start with the rad valves? When there's two of you, you're doing the boiler, and then he comes up and he's like, yeah, I've done the rads now. And you're like, oh, fucking hell, this job's going great. And it just makes
it's that
everything
regimentation,
nice.
isn't it? You know, like,
It was, in a way, me and for the last 3 years, just up to recently, because my dad's getting quite old, he's had a new knee and stuff, we were really slick. Like, we've been working with each other for, I'm 37, all that time. It was slick. Like, we knew what to look for and stuff. And he was coming up, I was thinking, I've got to do these big jobs on my own, I'm travelling up, I'm only doing 3 days a week. And then we weren't looking for someone because we've had apprentices before, they've qualified, moved on to the local rival companies
not as good as me.
And stuff. No bad blood, but you know, we just didn't want all that admin and stuff.
Life.
Yeah, and then Carl came along and we were like, I know of him on social media, he's top of his game where he's at, you know, which is the apprentice. So, because we actually haven't mentioned this, Carl, but you won Apprentice of the Year, didn't you? Rising Star of the...
okay, yeah, go on, you can talk. Yeah.
I think we should mention that, shouldn't we?
I don't ever really mention it.
He mentions it every day. Normally.
Just so happens, here's the order.
That's you, that is. He's
Yeah,
like,
no.
oh, look what I want.
I have been known to bring awards in,
On occasion.
Awards, medals.
medals, yeah.
I remember Steve said, you know, come round, have a chat. You know, nothing was guaranteed. So, you know, even though I was kind of, you know, there was kind of a level of elation. You know, I kind of found someone that's local, literally round the corner. You know, I still had to get through a conversation. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know what was going to be asked, what was going to be required of me. And I remember, you know, knocking on the door, and it was like, you answered, didn't you? And was it you? No,
He
your dad
answered and went,
Was it?
I had no clothes on.
No, you answered because your dad passed with flying colours. Left hand.
I think you've got a bad hand.
But no, your dad was actually out, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just me and you. Yeah,
just me and you.
You wanted to be employed, didn't you?
Yeah,
and we said I work 3 days
But
a week.
that's all I'd known. So,
That's right.
Yeah, so
yeah. You said I've always been employed. I want to be employed, and we said I'm around 3 days a week. My dad wants to chill out.
I remember I said I want to be employed. He's gone, no.
So we were, but yeah. And then we had the interview. We came across really well.
Yeah.
Shall I say next?
Yeah, go on.
And then we thought, we've got to be honest with him, we can't offer you an employment full time because I'm just not around. My dad doesn't want it.
It's like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays.
Yeah, we said we'd give you a good, what did I say? It's a really good email. It was like, we'd help you out, or you come and do portfolio stuff and give us out, you know, anything.
Because I told you where I was at and what I required. You know,
to come gas.
To come gas, yeah.
To get gas safe, yeah.
Which was nice, I thought. You know, you offered me almost like a kind of like, it's just like a help up, even though it wasn't what I wanted or needed.
Yeah,
you know, it was.
But we also, but then I don't know if we said it or you mentioned it. We said, but if you went self-employed, we could guarantee 3 days a week.
Yeah,
because I'm up here.
You mentioned it, and yeah, it was just have a little think on it. I kind of went home, spoke to Beth, and you know, it was like
big decision. Right?
Can I do it? You know, but I just feel like from day dot, I've just had nothing but big decisions. I'm not the only one. You know, as an I don't feel. You have to take apprenticeships at the age I was very seriously. You have to, you know. There's no time. I feel even at 17 you should take it seriously. But trying to tell a 17-year-old that.
But when you're living at home, which most 17-year-olds do,
you don't realise.
If you do make a mistake, you've got that safety net, haven't you? But when you're 36 and then you get into 40, you're like.
Call your mum, it's just to say hi, isn't it? I need 400 quid. But yeah, so you know, it's like sitting in front of Mark, and you know, it was like. This is perfect, but self-employment, you know, can I do this? Obviously, I know, you know, I was following you, I was following guys, and you know, clearly, you know, you're self-employed, you're very good at what you do, you know, you do what's needed, but you're gas safe. I was still not gas safe, and so many variables, and you know, it was a massive, it was an important conversation, but I kind of came to the conclusion, didn't I? And then it was, you know, you'd given me pros and cons. You know, we can't employ you.
I wanted to make sure, and I knew you would think about it, but we're basically saying you can only come with us if you go self-employed. It's a big decision for someone, isn't it?
But even having to do your own accounts, being self-employed, that's like you suddenly all of a sudden.
Exactly.
What's accounts?
You know, you got to like, Sorry, HMRC. Who's that?
Yeah, but no, it was nice. It was nice. It was scary, but it was nice. I was back on a tipping point. You know, what do I do? Do I look elsewhere, or you know? But I really, you know, I looked at your page. You know, obviously we were already kind of friends on. You know, and it was you just dive a bit deeper. Yeah. You know, I liked Steve. We got on very well, and it was like, yeah, I think we clicked straight away. You know, it was really good.
He's a charmer.
So what?
The grannies love him.
Are you still doing the 3 days a week now, or are you?
Yeah. So 3 days, 4 days, sometimes whatever's needed on an install. So yeah, as it stands at the moment, you know, I'm subbing to SMH. Mark is teaching me everything that I need to know for gas.
Is your old man fully?
No,
I don't think he ever will be.
No.
He's a machine.
They say they want to.
He's a machine, honestly.
Because I'm there 32 hours a week, so I do like a 10, 11 hour day, and then I'll work Friday down in Hampshire. But he still runs the business effectively. I do all my own paperwork for jobs, but he'll organise all the work, all that rubbish.
Surveys, all that, yeah.
You know, I'll invoice for my own jobs and stuff, but he'll do the surveys and stuff.
It's just non-stop though, isn't he, still?
Yeah.
But
it's when it's your child, when it's your business, people will back me up on this, I'm sure, but it's very hard to let go. We've got 160 jobs outstanding at any given point, people just on a list waiting for us to come and to service their boiler or whatever. It's very hard to give that up. You know, isn't it? And you can still do bits, but yeah. I
just think where I'm at the moment, like I say, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I've got my own plumbing, business that I've set up on the side. So Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I do my own things.
Yeah.
But the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays is, it's an absolute mind boggler sometimes, well, the majority of the time, we're trying to work stuff out. But going back to the new build lifestyle and what I thought I knew back then is nothing compared to what I know now. Yeah. That move across to domestic, I understand why people said, domestic light is plumbing. That is plumbing. I understand that.
You've got Briggsy to thank for that, haven't you?
And there's multiple people, like Keith Harrison's a burner. He's been with me from day one. The advice he's given me was unreal. I didn't like the advice you give me. Still, I'm older. I've lived different lives. I've done. It's not my first rodeo sort of thing in life. But some of the stuff Mark will tell me and Steve, it's like, do you know what? I've been doing it wrong all this time. Not just about plumbing, just about say maybe business matters or.
Yeah, but we learn different methods. Yeah, you look on someone's page. Yeah. You're soldering. I'll do it like this. I'll try it like that. Yeah. But PB will back me up again. I think there's so much to learn, isn't there? But there's so much still at the end you do not know.
Do you know
it's amazing, isn't it?
One of the good things I think about Mark, and I don't know whether whether your dad's like this as well, but like I'll have an idea about something, he'll entertain it. Whether I'm 2 seconds in the trade, what Mark's forgotten, I'll never learn. What Steve's forgotten, I'll definitely never learn. But like, he'll entertain it, and sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. If it's wrong, he'll tell me why. Learning method, is your dad the same sort of thing as you coming up,
I think people on Instagram and things like this, you're open-minded, aren't you?
Yeah, this has been a great advert for Instagram because you can learn off so many different people.
100%.
And I do things. When I was working with my dad, it was kind of it depends what your relationship's like with your dad, but he would suggest something, so I'd automatically want to think of a different way because I'm young and I'm trying to prove myself in the world.
Did you have different avenues where you gather kind of information from, because if your dad, they're different era.
So I worked with Kev. My dad would sort the work out, the big jobs, he'd get us the work, me and Kev would go and do it. If it was a really big job, he'd come normally to bring us stuff, and then he'd be out there surveying jobs, getting the work, and maybe doing the odd breakdown, whatever.
Nice little overlap kind of, yeah.
And that worked really well. We didn't necessarily work together. But sometimes he'd say how to do something and I just want to do it differently because...
And was that an age thing?
Yeah, I was 17, so... Yeah.
And would you be right... doing it your way, or
obviously not, because the thing with our job is you learn from experience. So he knows what he's doing, but because I'm 17,
he's made the mistakes multiple times. So he's
and when you're 17, you don't realise that. I realise it now, obviously, and I'm still learning. But it didn't change for me until because I worked with Kev and my dad. That was it. Until I went out on my own on site when Kev went to work for someone else. And the first plumber I worked with, Winnie, just how he kept the back of his van. It was completely different.
Winnebago.
No. Winston Bridge. He was ex-army, really good guy, local guy.
Winnie the Pooh.
And that was
not there really.
that was site bashing. The first time I did site bashing, and he was the plumber. But yeah, just seeing how he kitted his van out, and I'm like, I didn't like. I've said this before. I kept all my fittings in limb bins loose. Yeah. And then he's got them in fat Mac boxes, all nicely organised. Blew my mind.
But this is it, like your experience with your dad and your own van, and that's your experience. Then you see someone else's van. But Instagram is seeing 1,000 people's vans layout.
Yeah.
It's
dangerous as well because you see like the Milwaukee pack out. It's so nice, but it's so expensive. Obviously, if you've just bought some Stanley Fat Macs, and then you're lusting over the Milwaukee, but can you justify it? It's dangerous because people do...
He just loved red panty nights.
I mean, I'm a Milwaukee fan.
PB was my dad's worst enemy without you knowing it. When I went on Instagram, I was like, oh yeah, look at this, guys. Look at this bag that PB's. And he's like, so I'm getting tools left, right and centre. Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Business costs going on.
Yeah.
But I'm quite responsible. I try and only show stuff that I think is good and think people will like.
That's why I never shows us.
I was going to say,
I'm not showing you this knife.
That's not a knife.
But yeah, Instagram is great for learning off of people. You could follow 100 plumbers and they will all do things differently and you can learn off all of them.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing installation, you're not doing breakdowns, you can learn about breakdowns from following people on Instagram. You can learn about...
You become a breakdown engineer.
You can watch these guys, they do these awesome bathrooms and the tiling and how they prep for the job and the first fix and all kinds of things you can learn. So,
and the things at that point there, going back to when I was an apprentice plumber and the apprentice, like the diaries that I did, that was a niche that wasn't there. You know, like I say, I didn't know where to look. I saw all these boiler installs. I saw everything on Instagram and socials that I wasn't doing. You know, that's not on new build sites. So I was like, hold on a minute. You know, and then it was offered to me, well, do you want to do like diary sort of things? What, get in front of a camera? You know, I don't mind being in front of a camera, like pictures and stuff, but it's a difference when you've got to explain what you're doing. And, you know, you then have to become the teacher, don't you? And that's when I'd be approached by, you know, guys like our age and, you know, a bit younger, you know. Like,
more handsome.
More handsome than me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, I'd be approached and, you know, the questions, as I'm sure you guys get asked all the time, but, you know, for me, it was like I was the only one out there at that time as an apprentice for other apprentices, you know, and I just, it was nice. It was a nice feeling. It kind of, that was the calling that kind of got me through, you know, those, it's viciously cold on sites, isn't it? You know, I think it's sunny like one day of the year, but it's just, it's hard to do.
That's not an accurate weather forecast.
But no, it's just brutal on site, isn't it? You know, but you know, I'd be doing. I just remember the first like propping my camera up on the sill and like doing a bit of blowing.
Can I just say that Carl's image, like big, tough, cool, strong man, 85 times a day he'll come, Mark, I've got a splinter. Like, honestly, he's like, I've got a boo-boo. Like, it's how many...
You're not doing it.
He's either clumsy or he just wants to let you know every time. I'm like,
I just want to cuddle. That's all. But no, like, I'd be, as an apprentice, you know, you're there to work, you're there to be the carrier, you know, one step ahead of your plumber all the time, you know, be seen, not heard, don't get your phone out, you know, as you should do, you know, you're there to learn. You know, I just remember, like, strategically propping my phone in the corner, you know, recording, like, 4 hours of work and then being at home for, like, 2 hours, like this, edit. You know, just for, like, little bits and getting a bollocking because my phone was in, you know, it was hard, but it had meaning, you know, they were the days.
So, as you know, myself and Pete, we always want to try and give back to the people that watch and listen to the show. So we've done you an absolute solid. We've got loads of discounts from top name brands all across the internet. So if you want to save some money on tools, software, tool bags, accessories, then go and check out our discount page, which is just located here. Hopefully there's a saving on there for you, and that's a little bit of a thank you from myself and Pete for supporting the channel. Do you want to do the final thought? Should we do that? Well,
what we normally ask people is if you've got one bit of advice for someone watching this that you've learned over the years, or just something that you think someone can get some value from.
Might be a bit more wiser because I'm older,
or you want to plug yourself, whatever.
I think this motivates Carl when I say this, that he's 41 as an apprentice.
And if he can do it,
and anyone can do it. At 41, I'd like to be retired. Absolutely ridiculous.
Where's that knife?
I've been on the wind down for about 5 years. It's absolutely mental, mate.
Like, come on, serious then, final thought.
Actually, we've got something for you boys. We've got a little present. Oh, I've got a present.
You've got a present?
What's he got?
This is good.
He's such a brown nose, honestly. You want to zoom in on this? What a brown nose. It's not as if, you know, I've got Alex a present too.
I've got a knife to open this one.
Do you get more points for being wrapped?
Hold on, who are we doing first?
Is this a picture frame? It's a picture frame, isn't it?
Let's just do
yours first. Do yours.
Do yours first, please.
I'm excited.
That's
it's not my birthday till March.
Have a look. What you got, Pete?
It is
cardboard.
It's a box of nothing.
It's an Amazon box.
Oh, it's a flexible shaft.
I've got a good left hand here.
I thought it was to.
So it's for servicing the kebab heat exchanger on a Worcester.
That's it, yeah.
Is this some kind of bespoke?
So I get these in from Germany, and
like anything German, he's all over.
Vorsprung Dutch technique.
The ultimate.
Go on, give a description.
So I guess.
Or is it going to be like the other tool I got you and you don't remember?
What was that again? Go on, you got to show. He's just going to throw it in the bin.
Okay, I've got it. So does this go through here?
Nine. Schnell.
That goes through.
You've got different brushes for your kebab.
Yeah, but does that go through and you fit it on the top to hold it in place and then that'll...
Correct.
Or you can just use your bendy hand bit.
Yeah.
That's awesome, mate. Thank you very much.
So it's like it's a German tool that you can't get in the UK, and it cleans Worcester Bosch heat exchangers, Alex.
So do you do a lot of Worcester Bosch?
I do, yeah.
Can you get it from anyone, or is it just...
No, don't go down there, Carl. Only available from me in the UK.
There you go.
Wow.
This is not rehearsed.
That was a good plug, that
So
one.
basically, he wants me to put this on my story so he can sell a shitload.
No, not at all.
No, right, listen, so that's Mark's present that I didn't know about that till last minute, so
You'll
I thought...
use that though, won't you?
Should we go?
I thought I'd get a real good... So this is for the future of Trade Legends. I think it's an idea in the making.
Is it a photo of you in a frame?
Oh, God.
It's not you and your Muay Thai shorts again, is it? Right, you ready? I'll open it and then you look at it.
I'll give you my final thoughts after this. Go on. Right, so we think that you all should start a picture wall, and that is going to be your first one.
That's awesome.
Picture wall. Alex, lots of love, Carl and Mark. It would have been from the Dream Boys, but I couldn't fit it in.
Look at those blue eyes.
Oh no! Oh, what about these browny, greeny, yellowy
Look
ones?
at ocean eyes over here.
Your face photograph's a lot squarer than it is in real life.
Yeah, I know.
It's a good photo.
So what are we saying about a picture wall?
Let's put this up there.
It's like looking at young David Coulthard.
It's a good angle,
Do you
isn't
know
it?
what? I was about to say David Cole,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to offend him with
It's the chin.
Why are they focusing on you?
No.
It's all at the same now.
David Coulthard.
It's like a ball
David
sack.
Coulthard, yeah. David Coulthard's chin looks like Chucky from Rugrats.
You should have put from Kark or Marl.
Marl's a good one. Marl's a good one, yeah. There you go. So what do you reckon then? You like it?
Love it.
Good.
Worst presents ever.
Unless we get like, the Polaroid and we bang the Polaroid on. Is that one started coming off? Oh, come off. And then unless we get like a little Polaroid wall, we take... Could do it.
I like that.
You've got a Polaroid here.
It's
You got a
personal
camera?
touch.
Yeah.
It's great, that, isn't it? Oh, it's not even in shot all the time. It needs to be in shot all the time. I was thinking like here.
Yeah.
Just there.
So it's swinging freely.
Should we put it on the...
Just put it on the table.
Get on the table, yeah.
Put it on
Get on
the table.
the table.
Our presents are so
Honestly, just... It's not about us, guys. It's just not about us.
You could do one together, couldn't you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hold on, I feel like we should... Here you go, look.
No, you need to get on the other side.
Hang on.
Let's get it in on that.
Hold on, you need to give me... Swap headphones.
What's happening?
Swap headphones.
Swap headphones,
Get on
technical.
the other side. Let's move some of these. Are these finished?
There we go.
All right.
Finished.
Oh, yours are sweaty.
This is good podcast, isn't it? Just gaps.
Yeah. Go on. Try and recreate it.
Hold on. Oh, I've got to recreate it. Okay, hold on. Was I smouldering?
Smoulder.
No, you're smouldering. I'm just normal. You got to do that
Where are we
finger
looking?
thing. I don't know. Hold on.
This one. Straight down there.
There you go, like that.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah. Then I'm looking constipated. Hold on.
Try and look more.
Where we going?
Try and look more
Straight
handsome.
down there.
Oh.
Straight down there.
Is that it? Did we get it? Didn't really have to change sides.
Oh, we did.
Oh, thank you, boys. That's class.
But yeah, that is my final thought. No, final thought. Go on, Mark, proper one. This
That was his
No,
time.
just keep on going. You know, if you're going the right way, keep on going.
yeah.
Keep on.
What's your
Reckon-
final thought, PB?
I'll do mine.
That's my final thought. What's been going on lately? I think people should.
November.
No, just I'm just trying to think. Social media. What you think about it, but at the minute, it's not good for me as it used to be. The sense of community. In fact, that leads me on nicely to something I'm doing with Lawton Tubes. We're doing a community award.
Yeah.
So you can vote for your plumber of the year, because I thought it'd be, these competitions, they get a bit political.
Yeah.
And the way people vote for them. So my idea was we get people to vote for someone.
What are you going to do if you win it?
Well, I can't really win it because it's my...
It's like winning a raffle, isn't it, that you've put on. You've got to put it back, haven't you?
I'll have one chocolate and give the rest away.
You vote for someone who has contributed to the plumbing and heating community, or someone whose work you admire, someone you just think deserves to be titled Plumber of the Year, but it's not for financial gain, it's not voted for by companies, so they've not got to play up to certain brands. We just want heartfelt entry. Why you think someone deserves the award?
Just real, yeah.
Once we've got them in, I'm just going to get my dad, who's not on social media, I'm going to give them anonymous, say the top 10 entries.
Can't get a more unbiased, but yeah.
Read through these. Who do you think deserves this award? And then try and bring the community spirit back together. And then we're also doing a college of the year, so people can vote for their college if they think their college has gone above and beyond, and hopefully make it like an ongoing thing, and try and bring the sense of community back, because I think it's gone a little bit.
Yeah. But do you think that's like, I honestly think since like all the budget stuff and all that sort of stuff that's going on, I honestly think people are like a bit more stressed out with life.
Oh, definitely.
That's why I think the social media stuff.
Yeah, and obviously,
almost like a break. Yeah.
If you are on social media and someone says something that upsets you, or they lash you out, or they
instant,
they're
like,
negative,
fuel and fire.
You don't know what they're going through in their personal life. Why they're
Don't call them up.
Why they're being.
Don't call them, sir.
You don't know what's going on. Why they've reacted. Why they've snapped. Why they've.
Use the C word.
Yeah. So.
I think you just got to be positive, haven't you? Like, there's lots of positives.
Just got to be resilient.
Just concentrate on the positives.
Yeah,
we have a laugh, show good workmanship.
This is what I was going to say. Yeah. We do have a laugh as well, don't we? You know.
Get on.
The good. I'd say the
just
good.
all get along.
Come on.
I'd say the good thing, you know, no matter how hard the day is, you know, we have a laugh. You know, we have a joke.
You've got to have a laugh.
I'm taking the mick out of you 90% of the time, and
more the other way, but
vice versa, you loser. But no, just have a laugh. You know.
Yeah. It's not that serious, and if you are on social media and you're doing well, as you rise, take others with you.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for you to bloody take me, Big Al. I'm on 2,000 followers, Pete. Come on, son.
I mean, I'm nearly on 5,000.
Trying to get on his coattails.
2,000. I can't be associated with you.
Well,
you're upper tier. I'm lower tier, according to Bundy.
I've got a quick question, okay, just to finish off. So, obviously, you've been doing a lot of colleges, and you know, it's good to watch. What is the one thing that you kind of said at colleges, advice-wise, to these 16, 17-year-olds for the future? So not where they're at now, more like, you know, do you advise them where they should be going? Because I was never told this. You know, I was never told. I had to figure it out myself. So
before you start, let me go for a wee, and then you can explain that.
No wee.
I'm dying for a wee.
My girth can't take it.
Like I say, we can do this bit without him. He's surplus to requirements.
2,000 followers.
I found it really difficult because you'll know this. You stand up in front of them and you can talk and get nothing back.
Oh, 100%.
Because they're shy. But what I've been trying to say to them was, when I started my social media, I was 30. I've been plumbing since I was 17, so I've missed 13 years of my career. If they start now at college, think where they'll be.
Yeah, massive.
20 years down the line, the opportunities they'll get. So I've been trying to sort of get them to start that. Number one, like we've spoke about, so they can learn off other people and make themselves better. But two, the opportunities they'll get, because the world is going that way, social media. So
it is, isn't it? It is 100%. On that note, GasLadd and SMH Gas Specialist. There you go.
Give them a follow, both on Instagram. Do you do any other TikTok or anything?
TikTok, GasLadd still, same.
No, I don't. Really. Just Grandad.
You'd be good on TikTok.
Yeah.
The David.
Hold on. I'll make your video.
The David Brent of plumbing.
I'm 100% the comedy in our videos.
He's the editor. Yeah, I think the other thing with social media is you show the highlights, don't you?
Yeah,
but it's hard work, isn't it?
But you've got to show the real stuff as well.
Yeah.
You can't always show the real stuff.
We do show you show the real stuff. You don't show.
We don't show the real stuff.
not the real stuff like today.
Yeah.
but no. Yeah. It's good to be real, isn't it? Definitely good to be real.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good content because it goes down well. People appreciate you.
They can relate to it as well, can't they? You know.
Al's given up. Look, this is like plumbers forum.
He's just checking. He's checking his follower list. That's all he's 2001.
1,099. I've lost one.
Can I just say thanks very much for having us? Absolute pleasure. And
loved it.
Honestly,
no worries.
I was nervous coming onto it, wasn't I? I was
nervous.
I was nervous. Didn't know what to expect. Obviously, we've watched them all, and yeah, but it's been good. It's been good. Thanks a lot for having us.
You've watched them all. He hasn't even watched one, mate.
I'm just saying. You went out the room. He's basically said, "Can you just tell him you watch them?" But no, it's been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's been fun.
If you like listening to Al talk over all the guests, if you've enjoyed this episode of Trade Legends, listening to Al talk over everybody else and people banging on the desk, if you've enjoyed listening to him watching today, you fucking gonna just stay still, one space just for a minute.
If you've enjoyed watching this, blah 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 blah.
So
Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
So I'll just not do it.
Go.
Yeah, you sure? I'm gonna shut up for just like a minute. If you've enjoyed listening and watching today's Trade Legends podcast, please subscribe to our channel. It will really help us out. We're a new podcast. We want to do big things, and you subscribing, hitting the little bell so you get notifications, would be just great. Thank you.
Hitting the little bell. I was like, yeah, ding, 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 ding.
There is a little bell in there.